Janice invested $12,000 in two funds. One of the funds returned 6% interest and the other 8% interest after 1 year. If the total interest for 1 year was $880, how much did she invest in each fund? So let's let X equal the amount invested in fund number 1, which is the 6% interest, and let's let Y equal the amount invested in fund 2, or the 8% fund. And again, we're going to construct a chart here to help us organize the data. In our chart, let's label our two rows Fund 1 and Fund 2. And we have the APR, or the interest rate. We have the principal, or how much was invested. And then we also have the amount of interest accrued. And recall that simple interest is found by taking principal times rate times time, time always being in years, and in this situation time is 1 year, so we'll be multiplying by 1. We know that Fund 1 is paying an interest rate of 6%. So the interest rate for Fund 1, 6%, 0.06. Fund 2, however, is offering 8% interest. The principal for each, X is how much we're investing in Fund 1, and Y is how much we're investing in Fund 2. And then to get the amount of interest that is accrued, like I said earlier, we're going to be taking principal times rate times time, or times 1. So we're going to simply multiply these two values together to get the amount of interest. So in this case, 0.06x is an expression that captures the amount of interest made with Fund 1, and multiplying these two values together, 0.08y is an expression that captures how much interest is made with Fund 2. Now from this chart, let's try to come up with two equations using two variables to build our system of equations. Well, we know that the total amount of money invested was $12,000. So the amount invested in Fund 1 plus the amount invested in Fund 2 must add up to equal $12,000. Also, we are told in the problem that the total amount of interest after 1 year was $880. Total amount of interest after 1 year, $880. Therefore, the amount of interest, total amount of interest in each fund, the sum of those two added up must equal $880. So 0.06x plus 0.08y must equal $880. So here's the system of equations that we need to solve. And we will use the substitution method. Let's take our top equation and solve it for y, meaning I'm just going to simply subtract x from both sides. Solving top equation for, solve it for x, meaning I'm going to subtract y from both sides. We would get 12,000 minus y. Now that I have the top equation solved for x, let's go ahead and substitute 12,000 minus y in for x in our second equation, giving us 0.06x, x is the same as 12,000 minus y, plus 0.08y equals 880. And we'll go ahead and solve this equation for y using the distributive property. 0.06 times 12,000, 720. 0.06 times negative y is a negative 0.06y. We have a positive 0.08y, and we have an 880 on the right hand side. Combining like terms, we have 720, negative 0.06y and a positive 0.08y is a positive 0.02y, and that is equal to 880. We'll subtract 720 from both sides, giving me 0.02y is equal to 160. And finally, we will divide both sides by 0.02, giving us y is equal to 8,000. And remember, y was the amount of money invested in fund number 2. So we know now that there was $8,000 invested in fund number 2. We know to solve for x, x is the same thing as 12,000 minus y. X is equal to 12,000 minus y. We now have figured out that y is equal to 8,000. So x is equal to 12,000 minus 8,000, which is equal to 4,000. So now we have, and as you can see, the sum of these two is $12,000. So our final answer, we found out that $4,000 was invested at 6%, and $8,000 was invested at 8%.